The way that a thought can nest its way into your mind is curious to think about. The way it can become so deeply ingrained in oneself that it becomes a very part of them, part of who they are as a person. It tugs on the very neurons in their brain as if they are the strings of a puppet or the buttons of a machine. Thoughts can consume you if you let them. Just try not to think about it. It's this very concept that consumed my best friend. A thought so impalpable that she spent her days trying to understand it, trying to reason with it, and letting it merge with her life. Maya ran the Twisted Bloom, a quaint, quiet florist. She took over after her sister Brooke went missing a few years ago. She had helped out here and there whilst Brooke had been around, so she was familiar with the logistics of the place. I myself had also helped here and there, both under Brooke's ownership and Maya's. But last month, as I was unloading a box of flowers and bringing them inside, Maya said something strange. She still whispers to me, through the petals. In hindsight, this is where everything began. But at the time, it was a beautiful thought. Perhaps Brooke really was still watching over us, using her passion for nature as a way through. We all miss her. I smiled gently as I spoke. I also feel closer to her when I'm around flowers. It's like she's still here. She is. Maya spoke this time not with the beauty of a metaphor or the comfort of a belief. She spoke with certainty, as though she had spoken to Brooke. She seemed dismissive of my sentiment, almost offended and angry that I had implied it to be comforting. I didn't speak further, I just nodded and continued helping. She had lost her sister. I had no reason to think her words were anything more than grief and finding her own comfort. Or maybe I just don't want to blame myself for not noticing. Before taking over the Twisted Bloom, Maya had studied chemistry. She wanted to be a pharmaceutical researcher, experimenting and studying drugs to create new breakthroughs in the medical field. I always envied her decisiveness of job choice. I always found it so difficult to decide what I wanted to do with my life, or who I wanted to be. I always told myself that as adulthood came around, I'd realize the answer. But nobody tells you that adulthood doesn't just happen one day. It's gradual. The epiphany moment never came, and even as an adult, I have no idea where I want to go with my life. I think Maya felt that continuing the florist was essential, and she gave up on her chosen career. She never specifically said it, but I know it must have been hard on her, to not only lose her sister, but to lose everything she had planned. But running that place brought her comfort in continuing what Brooke had started, and I couldn't fault her for that. Brooke loved nature, and to let her love dissipate even after she had left this world just felt wrong for Maya. One way that Maya found to combine her interest with the Twisted Bloom was by using chemistry to help the environment. A few years ago, before Brooke went missing, she had been developing a solution that sped up decomposition and provided nutrients for plant life. She soaked a piece of paper in it and threw some seeds on top. The following morning, the paper was unrecognizable as a rectangle of flowers bloomed in its place. It was beautiful. Brooke found it so exciting. A few weeks ago, Maya told me she was working on the solution more. I don't want it to be painful, she spoke solemnly. That was an issue with the previous version. Curiously, I asked, plants feel pain? All living things feel. I didn't like the way she was speaking. Something about it just felt off. She sounded sorry and remorseful. She's never been the spiritual type, so hearing her say something like this was very out of character. Still though, I only saw it as her emotions taking control. I had no reason to be suspicious. As the weeks went on, She said more and more ominous things, always about Brooke or flowers or both. I knew something was really wrong when she closed the Twisted Bloom last week. Even odder is that she didn't close it to focus on anything new. She stayed in the shop, working on her solution and staring at the plants. Sometimes I'd even catch her talking to them. "You look beautiful, sister." I tried to talk to her about it, but she was always so dismissive. She stopped even letting me inside, claiming I was making Brooke uncomfortable. Yesterday, she stopped responding to texts or calls. Today, I dropped by the Twisted Bloom, and I couldn't even see her through the window. Worried about her health, I broke a window around the back. Some of the shards of glass sliced my hand, but I was too focused to pay it much attention. I climbed through. "Maya!" I yelled through the store. There were clear signs of life as all the lights were on, and her equipment was still out in the back room. Yet, no reply shouted back. "Maya! Please, answer me!" I wanted a reply, though didn't expect one. My heart pounded loudly, almost too loud to even hear a response if I did get one. I searched around the store. Everything looked normal. The plants were well taken care of, and music gently played from a radio on the counter. I walked over to turn it off. Despite how quiet the music was, I still wanted absolute silence whilst I searched. Yet, as the silence began, I noticed a pile of flowers behind the counter. Where Maya usually stood to serve customers was now covered in nature. Beautiful, yet misplaced. Every petal and stem looked healthy in all but their location. Why were they on the floor? As I knelt down to get a closer look, I noticed that each flower seemed to twist, weave, and tangle into the shape of a person laying down. The face resembled Maya, a single stem showing her smile, with many more intricately woven to shape each individual feature of her appearance. It looked like a sculpture, an art piece. I wanted it to be. "Maya!" I shouted into the air that now seemed thick. "When did you make this?" I put a hand on the counter to steady myself as I stood back up, feeling a burning sensation in my open wound. Glancing over showed the cause. A tipped over bottle of Maya's invention. Liquid spread over the counter. Liquid that was now in my blood. She didn't manage to fix the pain problem. Hey guys, spookieDex here, and hopefully you guys enjoyed listening to this video just as much as I enjoyed narrating it. This is the first video I make on this channel, so it's a little bit nerve-wracking, but yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If there's anything you guys need me to work on in the future, just leave it in the comments below, and I'll take the time to look at it, see what I can fix, because I know the video's not perfect, but I think it came out pretty well for the first one. And so yeah, that's about it. Hopefully I'll be making more content in the future, so watch out for that. So yeah, stay spooky, friends.